Good morning, everybody. I'm Simona Bonelli from Turin University in northwest of Italy. Thank you so much for inviting us to talk about conservation activities on Papilio alexanor in Italy. Papilio alexanor is a swallowtail with an highly fragmented range. It occurs in the Alps and Mediterranean area in southeast of France, close to the Italian border. In Italy, is restricted to Ligurian and Maritime Alps. The first record of alexanor in Italian Alps date back 1970s, when it was found in the Ligurian Alps. Last summer, a new stable population was found in the Alps, in Susa Valley. The records could be a sign of the expansion capacity of this species. Alexanor was and is sometimes observed in some parts of South Italy, in Calabria, and southeast and northeast of Sicily, but here does not have any stable population, and records probably refer to adults having reached the Italian peninsula by flying from the Balkans, where the species occurs. In Italy, the species is a thermophilus species that prefer calcareous areas, south-facing, sometimes steep and rocky slopes. It occurs from 500 to 1,200 meters above sea level. It is a protected species listed in the Annex 4 of Habitat Directive. Is least concern, according to the IUCN assessment that we can read in the European Red List of butterflies, but is endangered species according to the same IUCN criteria at Italian level, as we can see in the first red list of Italian butterflies that we wrote in 2016. Papilio alexanor is also known to be particularly vulnerable to climate change. In this climatic risk atlas of European butterflies, Settle and colleagues have listed Papilio alexanor as extremely high climate change risk species. According to their analysis, the species is expected to lose more than 60% of its European climatic niche by 2050, according to the available climatic scenario. Given its good dispersion ability, it's likely that alexanor will respond to climate change by colonizing new areas, as is suggested by these new records in Susa Valley. However, in southwest of the Alps, there are very few sites that offer suitable condition for its long-term survival. So it's extremely important to protect all the population, all the known population in Maritime and Ligurian Alps, in order to mitigate the climate change, the effects of climate change will have on this species. Papilio alexanor in general feed on various umbellifera, but in our research, in our Italian sites, the species was found to exploit only Ptychotis sassifraga in the Maritime Alps and Opopanax chironium in Ligurian Alps. The two species are both umbellifera, but very different one to the other, especially in terms of size. Ptychotis sassifraga is very small, while Opopanax is very big plant. Local exploitation of a single food plant is quite common in butterflies, especially in oligophagus species. This local adaptation to single-host plant may have favored the differentiation among these two groups of population. In fact, the two populations has been described as a separate subspecies. Papilio alexanor is the subspecies described for Ligurian Alps, while Alexanor radigieri was the subspecies described for Maritime Alps. The difference between them may have been fixed and maintained by the temporal shift, more or less 15 days, in the blooming of the two host plants. In any case, Papilio alexanor is a monovoltine species that overwinters pupae, and adults fly from April to July, according to the sites. To ensure the long-term survival for the species, it would be essential to create new habitats or restore the old one, at least in Italy. In this respect, the restoration of artificial quarries is a very good opportunity for long-term conservation of Papilio alexanor. Abandoned artificial quarries became a good secondary habitat for the species. We were very lucky and have the opportunity to work in this Valdieri quarry. This quarry was restored starting after 20 years of abandonment. And we worked together with the local municipality, the natural protected area, and to produce a restoration plan focused on Papilio alexanor. What we have done as first was to mapping the habitat, the suitable habitat for the species in the Maritime, in the surrounding of Maritime protected areas, and we use both photo interpretation and field survey. We select suitable habitat, and then in field we check the presence of the food plant Ptychotis saxifraga here in red, no, in green, and then in field we also observe the caterpillar presence on Ptychotis saxifraga, and results are blue dots. Then we work directly into the quarry, and we to produce the restoration plan, we worked in 12 experimental areas, and we try to work on this restoration plan in 4 directions. We try to reproducing Ptychotis saxifraga by seeds on natural slope. Then we try to reproducing Ptychotis saxifraga by seed on the quarry artificial surface. We manage to avoid reforestation by ruderal vegetation, cutting brush, removing brush and trees, and we also work on avoid the invasion by alien plant species, in particular Senecio inequidens, by selective cutting. We work in different parts of the quarry, and in some parts, especially in the slope, we obtain a good result from seeding experiment that encourage this activity also for other abandoned quarry that in the area are quite abundant. In the picture you can see the different plots we were working on in different parts of the quarry. In this In these areas, after the control of Dicotis acifraga plants, we work on checking eggs and larvae of Papilio alexanor, and we also follow the survival rates on different plots. And our results indicate that the number of food plants and the height of these plants are the main factor influencing, affecting the Papilio alexanor females during oviposition. Female prefer plots with a high number of food plant, and this result is also confirmed by the larval survival. In fact, in the plots with more than 15 food plant, Dicotis acifraga, the larval survival were higher, and that is quite easy to explain, because Papilio alexanor is became a quite big larvae that need to consume a great amount of food, and this plant is very, very, very small. So at the end, 1 minute to explain, to say something about one of the second main threat we listed in our red list of the species, which is the illegal over collection. This is a very huge problem for the area and for the species, since the larvae are very easy to detect, so aposematic. They have a very low rate of parasitism and are very easy to grow at home. They feed several common umbellifera plants. So the old approach was everywhere to keeping location secret, but that was unsuccessfully strategy, since all the entomologists know perfectly where the species occurs. So we tried to experiment a new approach, which is based, a new solution, which is based in raise awareness among the local population, asking all the actors, the municipality, rangers, and personnel of the municipality to, for example, to introducing a ban on the collection of insects also inside the quarries. And then we work to let local people know about this precious piece of biodiversity, its uniqueness, and the necessity to protect it. So we thanks to a project founded by the Switzerland WWF, we were able to draw and create a butterfly path to make people known about the butterfly diversity that is around this abandoned quarry. And these paths end exactly in front of the part of the quarry where alexanor is reproducing. So in this way, we make all the people known about the general biodiversity and the importance of this butterfly that needs all the efforts together to be saved. So thank you very much for your attention.